Hello, my name is Brid. I'm a registered general nurse and a registered psychiatric nurse. And in my career, I've held various nursing roles. I've been staff nurse, CNM1, CNM2, Deputy Director of Nursing. Now I work as a mental health and wellbeing consultant. And in this role, I am also ambassador for the Let's Talk About It collective. The collective is run by the Irish Nurses and Midwives organisation and Cornmarket. And it provides you with a suite of services to help you to maintain and improve your mental health and well-being, crucial for your overall health. There are practical skills, one-to-one resources, CBT education programs, podcasts, and they can all be accessed at Let's Talk About It. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on graduating into a wonderfully highly skilled career. Speaking from my own experience, nursing has provided me with a very gratifying and accommodating career. I've been able to take some time off when my children were young and return to a career full of potential for opportunity, promotion, diversity, and I wish each and every one of you well on your respective future journeys. So today I would like to talk to you about minding your own mental health as you embark on your staff nurse experience. So as well as being a highly skilled role, nursing is also a stressful and demanding role. And nurses tend to have a tendency to take excellent care of other people and are historically not so good at caring for themselves or asking for help. So I'm hoping that by talking with you today, that you can learn to incorporate some important skills and techniques into your lives now that will support your mental health and well-being in your future lives and career. So during your internship placement, you will have experienced some of the challenges of nursing, the unsocial hours, the long shifts, the unpredictability, the busyness, the physical demands, the emotional demands of people's illnesses, and the demands of having to deal with death. So, how do you take care of yourself? How do you mind you? How do you seek help? I think one of the most important aspects of self-care in nursing is having a supportive network. Those people upon whom you can rely to listen to you and to understand. Understand what it's like to be in your shoes. The power of talking for our mental health cannot be overestimated. Clearly, the best people to have around you in your network are each other, the nurses. And nurses have always been very good at supporting each other. But who else can you have in your supportive network? If you're struggling, can you reach out to your Employee Assistance Programme, your EAP, a confidential service available? Okay, or can you text INMO to 50808 to turn a hot moment cool by getting confidential support in text. Additionally, you can avail of one-to-one counselling if you feel you need that. How can you manage not to bring work home? When you finish a shift, would you consider putting some systems in place for yourself to leave your shift behind you? This can be really helpful for you, not bringing work home. Some common methods are, maybe while you're changing your clothes at the end of your shift, that you consciously remove the shift with your uniform. And as you transition into home life, as you put on your day clothes. Some people like to visualize a shower, actually washing away the shift, letting the stresses of the day go down the shore. Other people like to simply breathe. Consciously breathe. Quietly, slowly, just being present in this moment. You can acknowledge that the shift is over. Whether it's the day shift or the night shift, I've completed my working day, my working night. Now I'm here, simply being present, breathing. I'm being mindful. And now I'm going home. Burnout is a considerable consideration when you're working in a caring profession like nursing. And the causes of burnout, things like long hours and lack of adequate breaks, or, the inability to say no, or holding in emotion, having high standards, and again, taking work home, lack of hobbies, no self-care time. And I've already talked about how you can release emotion through talking, and how you can prevent taking work home by having some system or some procedure that you do at the end of your shift. But what else can you do to prevent burnout? You could plan to take regular breaks. It's really important to get into the habit of doing that early in your career. So planning your holidays, planning your breaks. What hobbies do you have? Have you considered how you might maintain your hobbies or introduce some new hobbies if necessary, now that you're going to be most likely be working on a shift basis? Hobbies that have nothing to do with work are very beneficial for your mental well-being because they're giving you an opportunity to completely switch off from your working life. It's also important to practice self-care. So how do you practice self-care? What do you do to take care of you? Another significant concern for nurses and midwives and those in caring professions is compassion fatigue. So what is compassion fatigue, or what causes it? Let's say, what causes compassion fatigue? Well, we know that burnout can contribute to compassion fatigue, but a significant contributor to compassion fatigue is prolonged exposure to other people's trauma. Sometimes that's called secondary trauma or vicarious trauma. So when we're looking after somebody who has experienced trauma and that we are exposed to that trauma on a secondary basis over a prolonged period. Personal characteristics can contribute to compassion fatigue, and all these lovely characteristics that we like to see in nurses. Empathic, heart-led, people who are willing to take on responsibility and have high standards. And often people who experience compassion fatigue are very well regarded by their colleagues. And they tend to be other-directed in their caring. So they're looking out for other people. So, can you practice self-compassion? What is self-compassion? When the Buddhists wrote about compassion first, they talked about a kind and considerate approach to yourself and others. So the compassion was about self and others. A kind and considerate or understanding attitude towards self and others during periods of emotional pain. So how do you show self-compassion? How are you kind to yourself if you're going through emotional pain? We know that exercise is really good for our bodies, but it's also really good for our minds and our mental well-being. When we exercise, we release endorphins into our system, which help us to feel good. So can you plan to have some exercise in your life? You might say, gosh, I get loads of exercise when I'm on a shift. And that's true, you do. But taking planned exercise outside of work, where it's maybe outdoors or going to a gym, where you're using your body in a different way, you're exercising your body. Can you incorporate some of that into your life? That can be walking, cycling, dancing. There's so many ways that we can exercise and release endorphins into our system, which is really, really good for our mental health. Nutrition, also really important. So while it's very good for our bodies, it's also very good for our minds. So we know that eating fresh food and fruit and vegetables is really good for us. Can you incorporate that and make sure that you are getting a good, balanced, healthy diet? We know that sometimes, if we're tired, we'll take some sugar and we'll get a short-term rush, but we always have a slump afterwards. We know that alcohol is a depressant. So again, while alcohol might be, nice on the short term, we know that afterwards we can feel quite low, and that too much alcohol is really, really unhelpful for our mental health. Sleep is really important, and this can be challenging for nurses because of the way we work shift. So in terms of sleep, I would always say to people, to try and establish a sleeping routine, a circadian rhythm of going to bed the same time every night and getting up the same time every morning. And that's really good for our bodies, because our bodies then know, oh, it's time to sleep. But that can be difficult when we're working shift and maybe we're going on night duty and trying to establish a routine around nights and then get back to day duty. So just paying attention to sleep and making sure that you are giving time to sleep and to sleep well. That might be having to do things like having blackout blinds in your bedroom so that you can sleep during the day. It might be, trying to make other considerations so that you are allocating time to yourself to make sure that you're getting adequate sleep, because sleep is really, really important to our mental health. And again, I cannot overemphasize the importance of sleep and mental well-being. I've already mentioned breathing, as a practice, maybe when you're ending your shift and being present in the present moment and just conscious breathing. But I also want to mention breathing in relation to yoga, mindfulness, meditation, and how really good they are for us, for our mental health. Is that something that you might practice? Would you even consider a 3-minute mindfulness exercise in the day? Just time where you stop, you're just present in this moment. You're mindful of what's happening in your body, what's happening around you, what you see. Maybe you like to close your eyes and just center in your body. Maybe you're not comfortable closing your eyes and you just like to lower your gaze. Can you give yourself just a couple of minutes each day to just be? Just breathe, check in, see how you're doing. Give your mind a break. There's numerous research done now on the importance of mindfulness and meditation for our mental health and well-being, and how it really helps us to stay well. Would you consider practicing gratitude? Again, numerous studies showing how effective practicing gratitude is for our mental well-being. Simply having a notebook by your bed at night and writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for today. It might be that the sun was shining. It might be that you met one of your friends and had a really nice time. It might be that you got a lovely walk in nature and you got to just be with the trees and the fresh air. It might be that when you were out for your walk today, you met somebody you didn't know who smiled and said hello to you. It might be that you achieved something that you've been planning for a long time. So gratitude can be about anything, but it's a wonderful habit to get into, practicing gratitude every day. Can you keep balance in your life? What is balance? How do I keep balance? When I talk about balance, I talk about having a mixture every day of something pleasurable, so pleasure, joy, something that brings you joy, something that's fun, something that you enjoy doing. With closeness, so some sense of connection with other people or other living being creatures. It might be your pet. So pleasure, closeness or connection. And the third one then is achievement. So achieving something that gives you a sense of job well done. And that again doesn't have to be monumental. That can be something really simple. It can be that maybe, I've been saying for days that I'm going to start walking in the evening, and today you went for a walk. That's an achievement. It could be that you decided to cook a nice meal for some of your friends. That's an achievement. Or it could be something that you managed to achieve in work that you wanted to get done. That was an achievement. So when I talk about balance, I talk about pleasure, closeness, and achievement. And if at the end of each day you can say that you've had something that you enjoyed, and that you've had some sense of connection, and that you've had some sense of achievement, you've had balance in your day. Can you check in with yourself and can you practice self-assessment? How am I getting on? How am I doing? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? How do I feel in my body? What actions am I taking as a result of that? So just doing a general check-in. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? How am I feeling in my body physiologically? How's my body doing? And what actions am I taking at the moment? Are the actions that I'm taking helpful or unhelpful? Am I doing things that are good for me? Am I helping myself? If there are things that you want to achieve, is what you are doing achieving what you want to achieve? Or do you need to change in action? In terms of your mental health, what actions are you taking? When you think about your dental health, I'm quite sure that you practice something every day to look after your dental health. I'm sure you probably brush your teeth twice a day. You might floss. Maybe you organise your visit to the hygienist or the dentist. So what do you do every day to look after your mental health? Can you incorporate some of the techniques that I have suggested into your daily life to help you to look after your mental health? They can be really, really helpful. So before I finish up, I just want to remind you about self-compassion as you launch into your careers. Do you remember I said about the Buddhist saying that compassion is a kind and understanding attitude towards yourself and others during times of emotional distress? So I'm reminding you and encouraging you to remember the self in compassion. And as you embark on your careers, to remember that you matter too, and to think, what can I do today for me? What do I need today? I hope that you can take something away from today that's been helpful for you. And once again, I'd like to wish you well and wish you a wonderful career, because nursing is a wonderful career.